This is one of those times when I am really happy that I held off to actually talk about a subject. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm like, come on through, Cluck. Yeah. I'm going up on my soapbox. That's basically. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. As I said, this is one of those times where I'm really happy that I held off a bit before I came forward and said what I had to say about a certain situation that was going on. This situation involves Monique and quite a few other people. Um, it's one of those things where I'm kind of glad that I can't really pick sides, because who am I to pick sides? I really genuinely like each person that is involved and admire each person that's involved for a reason. So it's kind of a good thing that I don't have to go choosing and picking. It doesn't matter, you know, who I think is right and wrong, but I'm going to actually talk about, because in this, each person has done something that was not so cool, and you know each person's been done wrong in one way or another. So let's just talk about who we're talking about here. So we're talking about Monique versus Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Cheryl Underwood actually falls into this whole thing. So, and the Academy. Okay. This all kind of started back on the 13th of May when Monique actually did a stand up show, it was a Mother's Day show over at the Apollo. And in the midst of the show, we've all seen it. Somebody recorded a piece where Monique actually said that she wasn't blackballed in Hollywood. She was whiteballed by some niggas that had no balls, that she wasn't done fairly, she wasn't paid fairly or offered fair money, and that all in all, Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, and Oprah Winfrey could suck her dick if she had one. Okay? So that was the beginnings of the woo. You know what I mean? And I think we all did that, because I love Monique. I've loved Monique. Child, I was a big fan of I watched her on the Parkers, and I love the Monique show and all of that. I love her. I really do. But that was one time when even she shocked me with her mouth, and I was like, girl, what did you just say, honey? So that was the thing. Now we immediately jumped to the conclusion, oh my God, she's going down this road again, because you all remember the blow up whenever she wouldn't play the award season game when it came to the promotion of the movie Precious. And this is when all the trouble started. And then that kind of quieted down. And then when Empire came around, boom, it just blew up. And it was that, oh, she's being blackballed, this, that, thing, and the other. And that was the whole struggle between her and Lee Daniels. And just a mess. Just a mess, okay? So I started seeing videos surfacing at that point, and everybody was running to it. Everybody was running to that topic, and I was like, there is something missing here. I kept saying, something is missing, because I've always felt like something was missing. I did. I felt like something was missing. Well, folks, later on this week, we figured out what was actually missing. Monique and Sydney, her husband, actually, they're always on Periscope. They went on, they were doing their live radio show, and they're filming on their Periscope. And this is when we found out what was missing. It wasn't even about that. That was a piece of it. But it wasn't even about that. There have been the relationships between Monique and Oprah. That was a big one. Monique and Tyler, and Monique and Lee Daniels. Three different relationships. They've been tumultuous. And there's been things that have been behind the scenes that we knew nothing about. I said, something just doesn't seem right. These people who are so busy don't have time to be really still. I know they're not still hanging on that little bit of nothing. And no, it wasn't that at all. Well, let's just say this. This was the biggest part of it that was really, really, it shook me. It really did. It shook me to my core because I do love Oprah Winfrey. I do. I'm a big, big fan of Oprah. I love what she does. I love what she's done. I love the person that she is. I am just in awe of what she has done with her life. I'm an Oprah fan. So to hear Monique sit and talk about the famous interview that we should remember, but I seen it when it televised, when Monique's brother Gerald, who had molested her, actually came onto Oprah's show, and I always thought that was very strange that all the family, the mother, the brother, the other brother, and the father came on to Oprah, but Monique didn't come on. She didn't come on to defend herself, nor to try to heal herself. Nothing. She just wasn't there. I've always thought that was strange. So Monique was actually giving the whole situation, how Oprah actually contacted her and asked her, are you okay with your brother coming on the show? He's contacted me. She told Oprah, hey, he on some fuck shit. He's a slickster and I don't want to be involved, but go ahead. It's cool. At that point, she stated that Oprah never one time told her that her father, her mother, and her other brother were going to be coming on the show. Now, Oprah, baby, that's out of order. That is out of order. Okay? So that was that. And so had she actually come to the show, she would have been ambushed. No, I ain't no fan of that. That ain't cool at all. That's not cool at all. And I don't give a damn if it is Oprah. I love Oprah, but that ain't right. That's not right. So that was the point of the hurt between Oprah and Monique. That's where it started. They had actually had a conversation. She knew that Monique was actually estranged from the mother, and at that point, her and the mother weren't even speaking. They were really on bad terms and that kind of thing. And she just took none of that into account. She just kind of had them on the show. Now, going back to that time, I kept saying, it's kind of strange. But, whatever. So that was the beginnings of that. Then there were more things that actually added to it. Like they actually had a conversation. They had a few little run-ins. And they never actually came to a solid ground. And then when she said that Oprah offered her an apology, that was, I apologize if I made you feel. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That ain't no apology, and that's some bullshit. And that's how Monique felt. So, and all that went on over at Alfred Woodard's house in front of other people. It was a mess. It was an Oscar party. So that was that. Now let me tell you, there was other situations where her and Tyler got into it about money, and it was kind of like that fallout of the not doing the movie circuit thing, and kind of that thing. Her and Oprah's thing was their thing. There was a little bit of the Oprah thing when it came to the whole Precious thing, because they all had money tied up in that. So they've had their own little snip snap matches about those things. I absolutely did not agree with her stand on not doing the Cannes Film Festival to promote the movie and all of that. That was ridiculous. That right there was a bunch of bullshit. It was a bunch of bullshit. I thought it was done. It was a bunch of bullshit. That just was out of order. It's part of your job to promote the movie. You put all that time in the movie. It's your job to get your ass out there and promote the movie. It's in your best interest to get out there and promote the movie. So, child, everybody threw a dog in the race. Everybody did something they ain't had no business doing. Ain't nobody squeaky clean in this little situation. Then Lee Daniels, it really got ugly because Lee is the one that supposedly came out and said, for first, she's been blackballed. And then there was this, she was supposed to be Cookie. She was offered the role of Cookie. And then they said, no, she wasn't. So that whole thing has gone. It's just been a bunch of he said, she said. And it was a bunch of stuff that happened behind closed doors and for some reason made its way out into the media. And now the shit's out there. And the funny thing is that everybody thinks that Monique should retreat. Now, me personally, I'm not the retreating kind. So I actually understand what her point is. I don't give a goddamn who it is. I'm not accepting bad behavior from anybody. Not you stand on two legs like me, and your name happens not to be Jesus, and I don't mean Jesus, I mean Jesus. Then no, I'm not accepting the bad behavior. I don't care about your title. So I understand that. I completely understand that. But at the same time, I am smart enough. I am wise enough. And I've been around enough to know that when you go for the big wigs, you better have a plan B. And in this case, you need a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, and probably somewhere through K. Okay, because at this point, we're talking about Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels. If you're planning on doing any type of acting, that's done. I mean, for the most part, it's done. At this point, any projects that Monique is planning to do, she needs to be planning to do on her own, out of her own pocket, and then just roll with it, run with it, and try to get it done. Because at this point, there's going to be issues. It's not about just dealing with those three directly. It's also dealing with other people because you've tainted your brand. At this point, people know that you're not going to roll over. And again, people really don't like to work with a bitch. And that's how you'll be viewed. You'll be viewed as a bitch. And it doesn't matter whether you were right or whether you were wrong. You bucked the system. So you're going to be seen as a bitch. So all of that's fine. And I understand if you don't stand up for yourself, you stand for anything, right? I understand all that and I'm good with all that. But it's just about knowing where you are now. And I believe she knows. I don't think she's disillusioned at all about where she stands right now. Right now, she's in a pretty shitty place. But do I blame her? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm not the selling out kind. I mean, and I'm small fry, I'm nobody. But I'll do it in a minute on this channel, on my YouTube channel. When I go and I have a beef with a person, I know it could go either way with me. You all can get mad at me because it happens. Every time you get into a situation where you're beefing, you're going to gain some subscribers, you're going to lose some subscribers. That's a chance you take. That people will get mad at you. It could be people who, and I've had it, people who have followed me forever and they live for me. But as soon as I end up having it out with a YouTuber that they actually happen to like, then they go into that thing of they're picking and they may not pick me. They pick them. Now, my thing is I've never wanted you to pick because if I'm mad, I'm mad. I don't need no band behind me. I'm cool. But I know as soon as I step my foot out into these YouTube streets that there's a chance that some of my people are going to turn on me. And I know that. But at the same time, you have never seen anybody come for me on these YouTube streets and my ass don't show up. I'm going to show up. Win, lose, or draw. Win, lose, or draw. I'm not going to settle for any bad behavior coming from any direction. So I understand exactly what she's saying. Okay, so let me get down off my soapbox. Boom, 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 bam, and I'm back. Okay, so let's talk about how Cheryl Underwood's name got thrown into the mix. And I see this with Cheryl a little bit. Cheryl is interesting. Cheryl is the smart mouth, and Cheryl generally stands in her shit pretty much. But I've seen times where Cheryl backpedals and pussy pops as well. And I'm actually waiting to see what's going to happen. Cheryl Underwood actually, she did it all at one time, kind of. She was saying, that Monique is her friend, this, that, thing, and the other. She's worried about her friend. But at the same time, she turned around in that same statement and said, that basically she wouldn't have done what Monique did. And that I wouldn't have nobody being Billy Badass speaking my name. And the Billy Badass person that she was talking about Sydney. And let me tell you, that's another thing. Monique shares that same thing in common with Candy from Candy Burris from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Don't you say a goddamn thing about that goddamn Sydney, baby. You will buy yourself into some trouble. You understand me? Well, in that broadcast, she let her know, baby, that's my king and I'm his queen. And how dare you? How dare you, Cheryl? And then you're not my friend because I ain't heard from you. You so worried about me that, bitch, I ain't heard from you. I heard from Lunel and I heard from Countess Vaughn. So those are two girls that called her and, said, girl, we with you. We understand. We want to know if you okay. Cheryl stated it on the show to talk, but she never actually picked up a phone and called Monique. But she said through a subliminal at her husband, and she basically asked Cheryl, where's your husband? Where's your man? I said, oh. So that's how Cheryl's name got thrown up in the mix. But Cheryl did that to herself because you threw a subliminal and then you kind of, it was a little bit of peddling and popping, honey, that was going on. And it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from there. But this is what's going on. Like I said, it saddened me because again, like I didn't feel like, well, my opinion doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but there was no side to pick. I think everybody got done. Everybody attacked. Everybody attacked, and the fallout is just bad. This is just a bad situation. It is. Nobody's gonna win. Nobody's gonna win. I don't believe that Oprah, Tyler, or Lee will ever work with Monique again. We lose. We lose because she's a phenomenal talent. Them not working with her, she loses. Her and them not collaborating, they lose. Nobody is going to win, but it is what it is. So that's it. That was my feelings on the situation. Sad, 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 and yeah. And I don't even see where it could have actually been avoided. It couldn't have been avoided. She needed to say what she needed to say. It couldn't have been avoided. It was what it was. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.